that is, it's like when that curtain, you see behind the curtain, and it's really, I know there's been a lot of things going on with like Hermes and the bags and all of that. And it's interesting, like who kind of makes it past that, that is true quality, and who kind of is cutting corners where we can start to see it.
Welcome to Off the Hanger, the fashion podcast where we dive deep into our guests' wardrobe, finding out their favourite fashion pieces and the stories behind them. This week's guest is Christine Lindebak from Sewing and the City. We chat about her career in fashion, how whether designer fashion is actually really worth it, and of course, there's a great fashion fail. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, please remember to subscribe or follow the podcast. Christine, thank you so much for being a guest on Off the Hanger this morning. You are looking glorious with your array of beautiful floral blooms behind you and your gorgeous, colourful dress.
Oh, thank you, Emma. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I had quite a successful orchid season this year. They all just kind of bloomed all at once, so it's been fun to see them blooming.
And orchids are a challenge. They are, I think, quite particular about where they live and how much water they have. And I'm not the green-fingered one in our household. My husband has to deal with all of that. I kill everything.
Yeah, I normally do too. So it's kind of a miracle that I think it's just the light. They love the light, and so yeah, I can't take too much credit.
And your fashion credentials are incredible. The people that you have worked for, your time in the industry. Can you give us a little brief rundown of your career in fashion?
Yeah, so I've always worked in luxury fashion. So I started way back when, actually working for a brand called Escada, which kind of the old timers might know. And I moved from Seattle to Los Angeles and then to New York. I've worked for Mulberry, managing 2 stores in New York. And my last role was retail director of Emilio Pucci. I oversaw our 5 US stores and got to travel to Milan to help with the buy and all of that. So it was a really, really fun role. Lots of stress, lots of pressure, as typical in fashion. But really, it was such a dream.
And then you've begun with your own brands as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So when I left, I was kind of in the middle of burnout, living in New York, working in fashion, kind of had achieved everything that I had set out to achieve. And so I ended up leaving my corporate job, moving over to Spain, and kind of was looking for something that would allow me to work from wherever I was, but still had that hand in fashion. And I've been sewing since I was like 5 years old, since before I can remember. And so through kind of, I took a sabbatical, and through that, I reconnected with my love of sewing. And then that became Sewing in the City, which is my brand. And so I sell fashion sewing patterns and have courses and a YouTube channel. So I inspire other people to also sew their own clothes. So yeah, it's a great kind of bridge between traditional fashion, ready to wear, and kind of the DIY sewing culture.
And I love that journey for you. I think that's something that seems to happen more and more nowadays, is that women get to a point, and men, I suppose, we get to a point of burnout
Yeah.
working in these kind of corporate jobs and realize that actually there's a way forward that still incorporates the passions that we have and the things that we love, but are on our own terms.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that more and more, like if I were to be doing this even 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been possible, because everything that I do is on the internet. And so I think that even more nowadays, it's more and more possible, to do more of what's aligned with you, what you really want, where there's more options than just like the 9 to 5, kind of, what we think of as a career.
That's it. I think we're living in the age of options.
Yeah.
But throwing it right back to when you were a child, do you have an earliest fashion memory?
Yes, I do, and I remember it so clearly. My favorite color is purple, And it started really young. I was having pictures taken, I think I was like 7 or 8. And I had a little white blouse with puff sleeves and a purple vest and purple little like knicker pants. Like the shorts, they kind of go below the knee with the socks. And they had little Garfields on them. The Garfield, the cat, the comic cat. And I think I had little purple Velcro strapped shoes that also had Garfield on them. So it was head to toe purple and totally in my style.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Now, is there is there an oldest piece in your wardrobe? What's the oldest thing you've got?
Yeah, so I was going through my wardrobe and I have a piece that to me seems really not that old, but it is the oldest piece that I have, and it's 24, 25 years old. So not super old, but and I can't believe that it's that old because it seems like yesterday, but it's this tweed coat that is from Escada. It's one of the first pieces that I bought. And it was from a collection called Raspberry Mocha, so it was styled back to like a chocolate brown. And I just love it. It's so classic that it's still in my wardrobe and still, gets pulled out every season. So, but I can't believe it's 20, like almost 25 years old. It just is like blows my mind that time goes so quickly.
It looks pristine. It looks like it's brand new. You've obviously kept incredible care of it.
Yeah, and I do like the more years have gone by and that I have experiences with different fashion, a little bit of fast fashion, a little bit with high fashion. The pieces that are quality fabrics, like real fibers, not necessarily synthetics, like the cotton, linen, wool, really quality craftsmanship. They're the ones that I have that I've carried all these years. Whereas the other pieces that, maybe were from a fast fashion brand, they don't last. They don't stay in my wardrobe. So it's
Yeah.
really a testament to the quality.
And the color of that is beautiful. And it's such a
Oh,
classic silhouette
oh.
as well that no matter what season you pull that out in, it's just going to look fabulous.
Yeah, the classic. I love this like little belt. It's not even like a real belt, but just the seam here gives you
Yes.
that waistline. Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think I'll have it forever. I don't. I think it's so classic that I'll be still wearing it hopefully in another 20 years.
And that's the kind of piece that you'll then pass on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Or I love those type of pieces where you look at something and you go, that's future vintage. That'll
Yes.
be in a vintage shop, or somebody will have that as a vintage piece in many, many years to come because it is so beautifully made.
Yes, I would love to have someone be excited to get it. That would be a really great feeling.
Now, what is the piece in your wardrobe that gets the most compliments?
Oh, this is one that I recently have made actually. That is a really fun piece. I've gotten so many compliments on it, and it's just this little striped jacket.
I was literally watching the video of this jacket on your Instagram with the lining,
Ah,
that
the line.
incredibly beautiful lining. It's
Yeah.
just perfection. I
Thank
love this piece.
I get so many compliments on this, just on the street when I've worn it. I wore it for Easter, and then wore it one other time. And it's like I don't know why people like compliment specifically on it, but it has been such a fun piece to add to my wardrobe. And just with a pair of jeans, it's a really, really fun piece. Yeah, this is one of my jacket patterns, just a really simple classic jacket. I've made it in tons of different fabrics, but this one in particular, the stripe, I think is something that catches people's eye for some reason.
I think it's got that really beautiful balance of being a very classic shape and that idea of quite a classic stripe, but then with the contrast trim on the stripe, I
Yeah,
think that really adds to it. And then when you get the flash of that lining, it's such a unique lining with those kind of little windows of all the different outfits. It gives it that
yeah,
element of fun and playfulness that I
yeah.
just don't think you necessarily see it all the time. And I think that's probably why people are obsessed by it. I know I am.
Yeah, I know. And part of me is like, I like the inside as much as the outside. This was actually a scarf that I had found, and I just used it as the lining. So I think that's why it's just a bit different.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece. I'm amazed you've not had people like messaging you asking to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, most people know that they can buy the pattern. So I've definitely sold patterns, people wanting to kind of duplicate it. So
You'll never find that scarf.
yeah, never
One of a kind, one of a
one of
kind.
a kind.
Now, what is the most expensive piece in your wardrobe? I imagine from working in luxury fashion, there's definitely a few pricey pieces in there. You don't have to share how much, obviously.
Yeah, I was really hard to pick like the one, but I wanted to show you this one because it's one of my absolute favorite Pucci pieces that I have. So this is it's a dress and it's rather mini. And it has on the side this side panel of the beads down the side. So you do have to wear nude undergarments. And then the back has this print down the back. I wore this several times, I think, to like a gallery opening, and then maybe once to the ballet, I think. So it's a really classic piece, and yeah. So I think that would be the one.
It's breathtaking. It is that real epitome of Pucci,
Yeah,
though, with the very bold print, and then you've got that beautiful beadwork down the side that just gives it that extra detail.
isn't
What a
that fun?
stunning piece to own. That feels like, again, that feels like a piece of history, not just a piece of fashion. It's
Yeah,
the type of piece that, in a few decades' time, and they're doing a museum exhibition about Pucci and about their work, that's the type of piece that would be in there.
totally. Yeah, yeah, and just such a classic shape. Like there's really, not a lot of detailing to the actual sewing of it. It's really the print that is the dress.
It's that
So
real showstopper. I love it.
yeah, showstopper.
Now, what's the newest piece in your wardrobe?
Oh, the newest. So this is something kind of basic, but I've been loving these trouser jeans. And kind of surprising because when I bought them, I was a little unsure. I wasn't sure if I would actually like return them or keep them, but they fit like a trouser, but they're a jean. And I've been pairing them back to, like a cute blouse or the little jackets. And I absolutely just love them. So that was the newest thing that I've purchased. Little back pockets, and I love this really wide hem. So yeah, nothing like super fancy, but I really love them.
But I think there's such an essential. I think you've
Yeah.
got to have good jeans, good trousers in your wardrobe because, yes, they're not always the star of the show when it
Yeah.
comes to the outfit, but you need to have that kind of great foundation to build your outfit from.
Yeah, the base. And I think I was getting, I have a lot of jeans with different hems, like kind of rough hems, some of them. And I think these being a trouser jean, they kind of have that elevated look. So I can almost wear them to something that maybe a normal jean wouldn't quite pass for. I can wear these, but still. So yeah, a great base to have.
Yeah, they're fabulous.
Thank
Are
you.
you quite sentimental about the pieces in your wardrobe? Is there something you would consider to be your most sentimental piece?
Yeah, I'm super sentimental, and I actually just got back from New York. I had a storage unit still sitting there, filled with a lot of things, and it's hard. It's hard to let things go, and everything carries energy. I was exhausted by the time I went through everything because there was a lot of emotions tied to the stuff. But I think one of the most sentimental things I have is this box of my grandmother's scarves. And
Oh,
it's this old Frederick and Nelson box, which is an old department store. And it has the corner was chewed from my first dog when she was a puppy. And it's just this box of well, also like a pair of her gloves. So these that I think she had made. And then it's just all of her silk scarves, all the beautiful prints and silks and things and it smells like her perfume. So this is definitely like one of those boxes that just is like a memory in a box. All her.
that is gorgeous. And I love the fact that there will be memories tied in to every single one of those pieces. Do you ever wear any of them?
I do. Like this one, I absolutely love just the print. I
The
mean,
print's stunning.
isn't
I
that so
love the
pretty?
red with the kind of more, ecru tones and that pale blue. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's such a cool, like the cool color combinations. So yeah, lots of inspiration. I don't necessarily remember her wearing any of these, and some of them I think she never wore, but they just they carry her memory and inspiration. So.
Now, what is the piece in your wardrobe you would say most sums you up?
Ah, yes. Pink puff sleeves. This is one that I made last summer. So it's this pink, really lightweight, like a brocade, and it has the little crisscross back. So just a fun little kind of cocktail dress. It's pretty short. I have a pair of pink like heels, strappy heels with like a flower on the toe in the toe box area. And so together it just kind of made a set. Love the pink. I love puff sleeves. So this one, I just pulled it back out for summer. And I think it definitely sums me up.
The silhouette's gorgeous, and then when you add in that back detail, but
Yeah.
also the fact that I think because you made it, it's
Yeah.
then intrinsically very you, so it really does express your personality.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of being able to make my own clothes is like you pick the fabric, you pick the pattern, all the little details really do make it exactly as you want it. So yeah.
Now, I have recently started my kind of sewing journey. I've had a sewing machine for quite a long time, and I decided the other day that I wanted to get it out and I was going to customize a dress. I'd seen a picture of a very expensive dress online, and I thought I have a similar dress. I can do that. Honestly, my overconfidence in myself is unbelievable at times. So I started doing this. And
Oh,
then instantly I got it wrong. And then I had to sit there for a very long time unpicking everything that I'd done, which I
oh,
posted online, and I have been reassured that this is standard. This is all
it,
part of the process of learning to sew. And so I thought, well, that just ties in very much on brand for me because I am a little bit of a fashion disaster and I regularly have these kind of wardrobe malfunctions and things. Does this ever happen to you? Not just in a sewing sense, but in a general fashion sense, have you had any major fashion fails or wardrobe malfunctions?
Yes, yes, and I will say that the unpicking when sewing is part of the game, so totally normal. It's totally normal. Just recently, I sewed the neckband, the seam at the center front instead of the center back, so I'm always doing these little things that it's like, "Oh," but I tend to have my wardrobe malfunctions tend to be around shoes. I don't
Right.
know why, but I have a really big memory of I had these I was in New York and I had these Michael Kors like heels and they were nude and a patent leather and they were really I loved them because they kind of blended with the leg so gave you like a long leg look and I was out for dinner and the heel broke
Oh,
and they were at the time they were rather expensive for me. And I was just starting to really work and kind of buy things. And the heel broke and I realized the inside of the heel was actually plastic, like the whole shoe. And it just kind of broke the illusion and I was like, I'm never like it just kind of was a sad moment. And so yeah, that was a wardrobe malfunction. I had another time where the bottom, I was at a wedding and the bottom layer of the shoe like kind of like flopped off
yes.
and you're kind of it like doesn't totally come off so you're kind of left with like
Flapping.
the
Yeah.
floppy.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
What a
It's
nightmare.
like always the shoes, I don't know why, so, yeah, my boyfriend is always like, "Should we keep a spare pair of shoes in the trunk?" Like, whenever we go somewhere important.
You're
So,
like, yes, yes, let's do
yeah.
that. That's a very good idea. I do
Yeah.
think it is like when that illusion breaks, when you suddenly see behind the curtain and you think, oh, this thing that it was super high quality and that I've paid so much money for
Yeah.
has not actually got the quality and the materials that I expected. It's really disappointing. I've been watching this kind of ongoing saga with a girl on TikTok who bought some like Mary Jane kind of ballet flats, like mesh
Hmm.
ballet flats from, I think they were from Alaya. And she wore them once and the bottom just completely disintegrated. Like
Oh,
horrendous. And these were like $600, these shoes. And so she's been trying to take them back and they're arguing about it, saying, no, you can't take them back because you've worn them. And she's like, yes, but I've worn them once for less than 2 hours and this is what's happened. And I'm like, I believe that you really should get what you pay for. And
yes,
if you're paying for super high quality, you should be getting super high quality.
yeah,
Otherwise, why not go and buy the fast fashion? Do you know what I mean? It's
exactly.
madness.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and that is, it's like when that curtain, you see behind the curtain, and it's really, I know there's been a lot of things going on with like Hermes and the bags and all of that, and it's interesting like who kind of makes it past that, that is true quality, and who kind of is cutting corners where we can start to see it. So,
I
but
think
that's
it's
incredible.
been such an interesting discussion as well with the whole idea of the bags, because just for listeners, if you're not like fully up on this current scandal,
Yeah.
so basically, many of the high end brands manufacture their bags predominantly in China and then they are shipped over to France or Italy to be finished off with the final touches, and then they can put in the all important made in Italy label in there because they have had elements of them made in Italy. And so lots of people are then working out the costings of these bags. And I think Prada was one of them that I'd seen where they were selling a bag, I think, for definitely like over £1,000. It was maybe like a couple of £1,000, and it was costing them like $60, £60 to make. And it was just, it then brings into this idea and this question of what is designer and what is its actual value? Is designer something that you just buy from China from a factory because they're now all selling on TikTok, all of these like Chinese manufacturers because they got annoyed at Trump because of Trump's tariffs that they put on him. So they went, well, we're just going to sell these things direct and you can't stop us. Or is it the idea that it comes specifically from the brand store and therefore you've got the label in and you've got the serial number and it's really difficult to know. I'd love to know your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I've learned a lot just from owning really quality things. And so I think that's really what I look for and what I try to create in my when I'm making something myself, like really, really high quality, using high quality fabrics. Um, I think fashion is going through a really interesting time right now where it's like, what is the value that this item is bringing, and is it worth that cost? But I also see behind the curtain and all that goes into the making of that bag. Just the get preparing a collection is so expensive. So even before it's made it to production, there may be so many samples made, and the researchers in the different leathers and fabrics, and all the people behind that process are expensive. So I get it on some level, but then I also, I love indie designers, people who are doing the quality, but maybe don't. I don't. It's so hard because I also really would love a Givenchy bag. Like that's the one thing that I am so wishing, like coveting, and it's like, well, why do I want that? What is
Yeah.
the why? I don't know.
It is really interesting to ask those questions of ourselves. It's going, why do I want that? Why would that be the piece that I would really want? Is it because of marketing and because I've been sold the idea of this piece and how I'll feel and who the person I'll be when I own that thing? Or is it that you really respect the craftsmanship and the quality? And I think that is why it's so important to have education and open conversation about how things are made, but particularly from small independent designers and smaller brands, because I really do think you then see the work and the quality and the time and effort that's gone into those pieces to justify those prices. Whereas I sometimes struggle to believe that any handbag, whether it's Hermes or not, is worth like £40,000.
Yeah,
Like, how is a bag worth 40,000? But I don't. It blows my mind, and it blows my mind that people have multiple of them.
I
I'm like,
know.
okay, cool.
Yeah, multiple, multiple.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they're an obsession, and I'm like, but I don't know that your bag is doing any more than my bag that cost me like £100.
yeah.
Like,
I think with Hermes, I think it's pure marketing and they've mastered the art of scarcity.
yes,
So,
the
yeah,
waiting list and the yeah.
yeah.
Because I think it is really interesting. I had a guest on who put her name down for a bag, knowing that it would take years for her to get to the point of being able to own this bag. And she didn't have the money for it at the time, but she put her name down and was like, well, I'm just going to save up. By the time they call me for the bag, it'll be fine. So she put her name down, I think, on the Friday, and they called her on the Tuesday and went, yeah, your bag's here. So she was like, oh, okay, cool. So she had to find the money for the bag. Otherwise, she would have never have got it. But I'm
Yeah.
like, they have that idea of, yeah, you're going to be on the wait list for a very long time and they're really difficult to get. And it's that real exclusivity. And then all of a sudden there was one here.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, it's all very interesting. So I find it all very, very fascinating.
Yeah.
Now you have said that you love shoes and we love a good quality pair of shoes. What are your current favorites?
My current favorites are my Celine pumps.
Oh,
So I
so
love
classic.
what?
They're so classic.
So classic. I love a good like a nude or like a petal pink just because I love like the long line on the leg and I feel like these just they go with everything. They're a great base even for anything, any colors really. They're like a neutral. And I love these ones they have just a slightly different shape on the like here that I love and so yeah, these are my favorite shoes.
And again, they look pristine, which for a pale coloured heel is a challenge. But you are clearly very much into looking after all of your pieces.
Yeah, I look after them. I think this one, I was just seeing like it does have a little bit of a scuff, so I'll take them to the shoe repair and have them look after. But yeah, I like to take good care of my things.
They are beautiful. And like you say, just that perfect shoe to go with absolutely everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think you have given the answer away, but I'm going to ask and get more details on it anyway. What is your dream wardrobe item? Is it the Givenchy bag?
Yeah, I think so. In black, like mid-size. I don't know why. I think it probably is like a 10-year obsession that it's just still hanging on. I love accessories, so that's one thing that I'm always, I'm open, always looking at accessories. Right now, my kind of my everyday bag is like a Fendi, almost like a bowling bag, but it's
Yes.
sort of small. So I love having just a really good quality classic bag for my kind of everyday. And so yeah, that one is high on the list. I don't know when, but yeah,
Someday it will arrive into your collection and it will be great.
yeah.
To finish on, is there a piece of fashion advice you would have given to your younger self?
Yeah, I think when I was young, I was a bit timid with my fashion. I was always sewing, so always like kind of dreaming up. I lived in the pages of Vogue when I was a younger version, and so I think my advice would be just to play and don't feel shy to wear something that feels a little bit more editorial or a little bit out of the comfort zone. Who cares what people think? Just have fun and let your personality shine through and don't be afraid to experiment.
I love that advice. That is brilliant because I think we often go through this period, particularly in our formative years of our teens and our early 20s, of real peer pressure of wanting to be like everyone else and wanting to wear what everyone else wears and really fit in. And actually, they're a great time to just experiment and find out what you like. And I think so many women now end up doing that in their 30s and 40s and 50s of
Mhm.
experimenting and trying new things when actually, wouldn't it have been nice to have been doing that when I had my 20-year-old body?
Totally.
It would have been
Yeah,
great if I was that little bit braver back then and gone, oh, I'm just going to try wearing all of these mad things because I can. Whereas now I'm a
exactly.
little bit like, okay, yes, maybe not the crop tops for you, but, try the other things.
Totally. Yeah, it's a perfect time to experiment, and then you can walk into your 20s, 30s, and beyond having, like, a good solid sense of, like, all the experimentation kind of out of the way. Uh,
Yeah, and just who you are and that sense of self, because I think our sense of self is really tied up in the things that we wear.
100%. Yeah. And I think even to like taking that and using it, leveraging it as a tool, it's like clothing really can is a representation. It's an expression of ourselves. So using it as a tool out in the world to stand out or just, be yourself.
That's brilliant advice to finish on. Thank you so much for being a guest. I've really loved chatting with you.
Yes, thank you, Emma. It was so great to chat.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please recommend Off the Hanger to a friend.